Head coach Gregg Popovich will no longer be head coach of the San Antonio Spurs and is transitioning full-time to team president. Popovich suffered a mild stroke November 2nd and did not return during the season. Now, Coach Pop released a statement today saying, "While my love and passion for the game remain, I've decided it's time to step away as head coach. I'm forever grateful to the wonderful players, coaches, staff, and fans who allowed me to serve them as the coach. And I'm excited for the opportunity to continue supporting the organization, community, and city that are so meaningful to me." Coach Pop's career on the sideline was legendary, so we go on the bonus on his tenure. Gregg Popovich is the NBA's all-time leader in wins as a coach. Pop passed his former colleague Don Nelson for the honor March 2022. He was also a force for the Spurs dynasty at the top, winning 5 titles as head coach. That is tied for the 3rd most by any coach in NBA history. Only Phil Jackson and Red Auerbach have more. And he was a hallmark of excellence, winning 50 games in 18 straight seasons. That is the longest streak in NBA history by any coach ever. Perk, when you think about the news in which Coach Pop transitions to now solely being the president of San Antonio Spurs, what comes to mind?
Well, the first thing comes to mind is good for Pop and good for the Spurs, right? It's time, right? It's time. Pop has done everything that he's supposed to do. He's a senior citizen. It's time for him but he gets to stay around the game. And also, when you think about this, right, Gregg Popovich is one of the greatest, if not the greatest coaches ever, right? But he's also one of the best trendsetters ever, right? When you talk about culture, their culture don't get talked about enough. I think they're one of the most underrated organizations that in the history of sports because of how they did it, right? Not cheating the system. Majority of their guys came through the draft. And when you look at all the people that came from under that culture, that fell from that tree, their resume is longer than the CVS receipt.
Yeah, let's dive into this coaching tree. You said it pretty eloquently on our pre-show call, saying it's not a tree, it's the leaves that are now branching out. Steve Kerr, currently in the playoffs, one of the greatest that we have seen recently. Ime Udoka, which we know what he's doing currently with the Rockets. I love the inclusion of Becky Hammon as well. I mean, the game is in a better place because of how he approached the game overall, especially as a coach. Now we'd like to welcome in our NBA insider, Shams Charania. Shams, how did Pop get to this decision?
As much as Gregg Popovich wanted to continue on as an NBA head coach, I'm told he came to the conclusion that it would just be too taxing of a grind to continue to be an NBA head coach, especially after that November health scare that he had with the stroke. And on a human level, he is doing much better. He's feeling much better, but there's a much there's a bigger difference between being a human being living day to day versus being a head coach in the NBA and the grind, the burden, the stress that comes with it. And he made the decision after pushing to return initially, and he started to make calls to former players, current players over the last 24 hours, letting them know. And this is an end of an era because 29 years, 5 NBA championships, the all-time winningest coach ever. But it is the start of another era for the Spurs. He is more prevalent over the last week or so. I'm told he has been coming into the facility, and he will continue on as team president of basketball operations. But definitely a massive change in the NBA without Gregg Popovich on the sidelines ever again.
And Shams, you also broke the news on Mitch Johnson taking over as head coach. I followed Mitch Johnson's coaching career very closely. Stanford grads, of course. What gave the Spurs the confidence to make their current interim coach more official?
A big word, continuity. And that's something from Gregg Popovich, their CEO, R.C. Buford, to their general manager, Brian Wright, who actually came in to the Spurs organization with Mitch Johnson in 2016. So over the last decade, the Spurs have evaluated Mitch Johnson, have seen the growth that he's had, and there's tremendous support for Mitch Johnson in that Spurs organization, not only this year as an interim head coach, but over these 10 years. And as we saw in the video right there, he's actually been Victor Wembanyama's shooting coach over his 2 seasons in the NBA. So he is now ushering in this new era of Spurs basketball where that relationship between Victor Wembanyama and Mitch Johnson will be very key.
Yeah, the game and also the Spurs are in great hands. Thank you so much, Shams, for stopping by. Now, Coach Pop transitioning to solely being the team president of basketball ops is today's headline. Yesterday, it was actually someone else. It was this guy, Captain Clutch. Is that what we should call him, Perk?
Nah, Big Body Brunson.
All the above. He just bodied the Pistons in an all-time series-ending performance. Let's go to the highlight. Under 2 left in the fourth. Knicks down 4. This move caught.
Then was the defining moment that I said watching this game that Jalen Brunson, if they were going to go down, it was going to go down with him swinging. He was not going to pass the ball. He was trusting himself in that moment.
Yeah, and he also has the trust of his teammates because after targeting switches and screens, he takes the jumper, misses, but this was a huge tip-in by Mikal Bridges.
I mean, that's what Mikal Bridges does. I love when he attacked the offensive glass. I love when he's doing the other things and not worrying about actually trying to be a ball handler in the score.
So the game tied at 113. This is the matchup that both sides wanted. Keep in mind, Brunson had only shot 30% against Asar Thompson up until this point in the series. There comes a little bit of a slip screen, and boom, the skate's wrong.
And Big Body Brunson again. He's very
Brunson burner, great call.
He's comfortable on the road.
Here's what it sounded on ESPN Radio with a familiar voice.
Brunson between the legs dribble, gets rid of Thompson, walk up three-pointer, he got it! The clutch player of the year will not be denied.
He is accountable, he is present, and he does not shy away from the moment.
A straight bar from Monica McNutt, our teammate. Check out the Knicks bench reacting. They were going bonkers after the Brunson 3. Now, that meant still, Perk, that the Pistons would still have a chance. So they send the whole team at Cade, and it just slips out of Beasley's hand.
I mean, I would have done the same thing, but look, it was ugly. Listen, but one thing we got to give credit to the Detroit Pistons. Hell of a season.
Yeah, here was Brunson after the game-winning shot.
I don't really go and think, all right, I'm going to make this move right here. It was just an instinct. He beat me to the spot. He cut me off. I just went back the other way, and then I found a lot of space, and I was able to take a shot.
What can you say? You know, timely, you know, he's at his best when his best is needed. He's done it all year. That's what makes him special.
Knicks fans were going crazy at the watch party, Madison Square Garden. Perk, we got to pull up at some point, right?
I'm pulling though. Even if I got to skip work, I'm going to a game.
First of all, we know you never skip in work. Okay, what a game, what a city, what a reaction. And if you're a Detroit Pistons fan, let's just say stay off of social media because it was flooded with Brunson content. I mean, Stephen A, Stephon Marbury, Magic Johnson, so many giving love to JB. But Perk, this game could have turned out very differently. So take a look at this graphic right here. The Knicks are black and the Pistons are blue. With 2:35 left in the fourth quarter, the Pistons had a 93% chance to win the game, which means that the Knicks, and you can see that right here, obviously had a 7% chance to win. Now enter in the 2025 Clutch Player of the Year. JB ended Detroit's hopes with a Game 7 to obviously with that.
Quay trở lại với kênh YouTube của mình. Bây giờ mình sẽ tiếp tục đi tô màu để gửi tặng đến các bạn. Và đây mình cần chuẩn bị đó là bút sáp màu. Đây là sản phẩm in sẵn để mình tô màu này. Đây là điện thoại để quay video này. Đây là điện thoại để mình quay video. Đây là giá đỡ điện thoại. Bây giờ mời các bạn cùng theo dõi quá trình mình tô màu. Và các bạn xem video của mình thì đừng quên ấn like và đăng ký kênh để ủng hộ mình nhé. Mình cảm ơn các bạn rất là nhiều.